New Lanarkshire College, Motherwell. So we're here today to give you some information about how to prepare for the Mechanical Engineering CAD Regional Heat. So to do that, I'm going to hand over to Barry to talk you through some of the information.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to take you through when you turn up to your competition, what you should expect and how you should prepare prior to that competition. In terms of the presentation that we're looking at today, there's some key aspects that you need to prepare with or for to actually go and compete at a good level within the competition. In terms of 3D modelling of parts, what I suggest is continued practice is what will allow you to develop your skill. Make sure you go over and over the basics in terms of forming your base shapes and then how you add features and so on until you build up from simple parts to extremely complex parts. One of the techniques that we would use in terms of training competitors is looking at the time scale within a competition as to how much time needed to each element of the competition. So for example, 3D modelling of parts, if we take historically over the regional competitions we've had in the past, you may allocate 2 hours to modelling of parts. What I would do in terms of your preparation is say, well, let me see how many parts can I do 2 hours. Tip. Over the last 4 or 5 years, probably every competitor has been asked to model in the region of about 15 parts. So what I would do is find 15 good parts ranging from simple to complex and try and model them within a 2-hour time frame. If you can do that, you're probably within the right area for when you come to competition. Modelling of parts is really critical to the next step, which is the assembly modelling. So accuracy is really important in part modelling. When you're modelling your parts, there aren't any corners you should be able to cut, because every dimension that is part of that part could potentially be assessed. So make sure you're accurate in your part modelling. But once you have your parts fully modelled, and we're moving to assemblies, there's 2 things that happen here. First of all, the accuracy of your parts are really important, but you're also going to be given a selection of parts that have been pre-modelled that you have to bring into your system, and all of these parts combined, your own modelled parts and the given parts, have to be brought together to create that assembly. One of the things you may be asked to do is to create sub-assemblies. So again, practice creating sub-assemblies which can then be taken forward into your final main assembly. That step, again, you can only get better at it by practice. Find some good assemblies, anything up to say 50 parts as a good example, and take the time. For us, again, you might say allocate an hour and a half for assembly modelling. So find a good assemblies that you can practice with and go over and over these assemblies and try and get your time management so that you can complete a 50-part assembly within an hour and a half period. And if you can do that, again, you're getting closer to what you need to be doing. The rendering of your assemblies, it could be parts as well. Again, look at your marking scheme. When you come to your actual brief, what you'll find is that the rendering, in terms of the overall marks that are available for rendering, it may be limited in terms when you compare it to the part modelling and assembly modelling. So this is one of the things that's obviously going to come near the end of the competition. But when you do your rendering, you're looking to try and create a visually appealing render which shows off all the key features of the parts that or the assembly that you're creating. But just bear in mind how many marks are allocated to assembly to the rendering aspects in comparison to the rest, and that's part of your strategy, because one of the things you'll have to do is look at your overall competition and see where the most marks are gained and target these, because these are really important. But at the same point, as you're nearing the end of the competition, if there are marks you can pick up in an easy fashion, by all means think about changing your strategy to pick up the marks if you're running out of time.
Can I just dip in there, just to let all of the competitors know, you can actually see the overview of where the majority of your marks will be in the competition brief, so you should have received that when you registered. So obviously if you just go back and have a look at that and just make sure you understand fully where all of the marks are allocated to.
Yeah. Okay. And the competition brief is the key document. When it comes to the competition, the very first thing you're going to do once you're set up and your station has been selected at the competition venue, you'll be given the competition brief. You'll be given probably about 15 minutes to read through that brief. During the 15 minutes, you have the chance to ask the judge, who will be there on the day, any questions where you need clarity. In terms of instruction, if you're not sure of anything, make sure you're asking. That's so important. If you think your questions are silly questions, do not be frightened to ask them, because I'm pretty sure that someone else in the room is thinking the exact same thing. So make sure you get the questions across to the judge. After the 15 minutes, that's when you're up and running. But during the 15 minutes, you have to make sure you've planned your strategy for the whole day. Look at where the key aspects are, where the main marks will be gained. How much time should you be allocating to each element? Try and break that down in your head so you can see how the 6 hours of competition can be broken down for you to achieve your maximum score. Once you're into the competition, as I say, part modelling, assembly modelling, then you come to the next stages, and that's where you're looking at the creation of simulations, production of drawings, and so on. The creation of simulations are really important. This is where you'll be asked to show the functionality of the assembly you have created. Within that assembly, you should be showing how you can control of camera positioning, showing methods of how you can demonstrate the functionality of the assembly. So that may be you fade out parts to let's see the internal mechanisms of the overall assembly. Making sure you're controlling your lighting so that the visual aspects is put across in a good way. So there's a few key aspects there, but particularly the control of the camera and the demonstration of the functionality. They're the two main elements that we will look at and scrutinise. Have you really communicated how this actual assembly functions? In terms of techniques and dimensioning, the key area here is be familiar with the British and ISO standards. This is where you'll think about your layout of your drawings, and also how you will dimension the drawings. You won't be doing any geometric and dimensional tolerancing at regional or at national. But for me, as long as you've got a good understanding of the ISO standards, in terms of how drawings should be laid out, in terms of third angle projection, your dimensioning, dimensioning clear and communicating well, then you should be in a good position to score well. You'll also be asked to potentially produce part drawings and assembly drawings, or one or the other. So make sure you're familiar with both part drawings and assembly drawings. The assembly drawings, you may well also be asked to produce an exploded assembly drawing. So you're looking at your assembly and looking at taking it apart and clearly showing all aspects of that assembly and all the components. Overlapping components, if you've got something that's hidden behind, then potentially you could lose marks at that point. So make sure all the parts are clearly visible in an exploded drawing if asked to produce. And in your assembly, make sure you follow the instructions in your design brief to see what views are actually asked for. The instructions in the design brief are so important to you to achieving a good score, and your understanding of that is critical. Most of your parts you'll be asked to add materials to. So make sure within the system you're using, whether it's SolidWorks or Autodesk Inventor, that you understand how to add the physical material to the parts that you're modelling. Again, these are marks that are lost on a yearly basis with many competitors. Simple marks to pick up, but again, slip by, and again, these marks potentially could be the difference between making the national final or not. At the end of the presentation, I'm happy to answer any further questions and give you more information. My details will be there in terms of contact details, so if you've got any questions after the webinar, again, you can be in contact with myself.
We'll probably just going to touch upon the softwares that are available. With the regional heats, the two softwares available, we've got Autodesk Inventor and we've got SolidWorks. When you received a competition brief, when you actually registered, it would have noted which of those softwares is available at the heat that you've registered for. Obviously, do double check that and ensure that it is the software that is your preference. If it isn't, please do let us know and we'll let you know where your closest alternative heat is that offers the software that you need. So please do check that. A couple of other things in terms of getting to your venue and making sure you turn up on time and prepare. Please do make sure you use what is classed as the host form, which gives you all of your venue information. That actually tells you where you actually register, i.e. where you turn up. It gives you some location, so where the local hotels are, where the train stations are. So if you need any information like that, that will give you that. Again, if you're unsure of anything which is on there, I do apologise, there's a slight typo in our email address on here, but it's wsukeng@cemter.org.uk. If you have any questions whatsoever in terms of venues, how to get there, change of dates, anything like that, please do contact us on that. Barry, as he mentioned, his contact details will be coming up in a second on the next slide, and he is available for any technical queries as well. But as Barry said, if you actually really use that first 15 minutes of the day when you turn up at the regional heat to make sure you ask all of the questions that you can. It is the point of the competition where lots and lots of people would hang fire and not think, oh, that's a silly question, as Barry's mentioned, but please do ask, because 90% of the time lots of people within the room will be thinking exactly the same thing, and also thinking, I don't ask that one because it doesn't seem relevant. So please do ask as many questions as you need to, and if you don't understand the first time, ask it again. Really use that, and make sure that you do actually read through the competition brief well in advance of turning up at the regional heat. The other thing is, we've asked you all to turn up at 8:30 for 9 o'clock, so we will be registering all of the competitors between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. You must sign the register to say that you are who you are, and that you are okay for us to take any photographs of you and use any non-specific details from you as well, such as sort of just your name and what employer or college that you're from. So we do need you to sign in to say that you have actually competed as well. Do we want to just give them a little bit of information about the progression through to the international squad, and obviously the software element around that?
Yeah. One of the biggest aspects of what you're embarking on at this point as a competitor, you're obviously entering a regional competition, which will be local. For most of you, that will either be in your own local college or training environment, or you may well be travelling to another college or training environment. But that's just the first stepping stone in a process that allows you to then progress to the national finals, which will be held at the Skills Show in Birmingham in NEC in November. At the national final, you won't just be competing to become the best in the UK, you'll also be competing potentially, if you're age eligible, to progress on to Squad UK in preparation for Abu Dhabi in 2017. So this is a big step, and for you guys, it's putting your best foot forward, making sure you really put the preparation, and when you get to competition at regional, know that you're competing to go on to potentially much bigger things later in the year. If you make it through to Squad UK, you'll spend the next 2 years actually going on and training. You'll have extensive training on different software platforms, and then eventually going on to compete at the world's largest skills competition, WorldSkills in Abu Dhabi in 2017. In terms of the software, as we go to the national final, you'll be looking to use Autodesk Inventor, and prior to that, anyone who's been a SolidWorks user, you'll give specific training. We'll have a week's training here in October, where we'll take you through the part modelling, assembly modelling, drawing production and so on. But way prior to that, you'll know if you have made it to the national final. You'll have that information. John, do you know roughly when that will be announced? You
will know late July if you have got a position through to the national final. You will know, you will know your regional scores and your placing within the regional heat within 7 to 10 days of competing, and then all of the heats need to take place before we can announce the national finalists.
But what I would intend to do is, after July, once everyone knows who has made it through to the national final, I would be in contact with them, or they can contact me, and we would help them in that process of preparing to use Autodesk Inventor software for the national final. The software is free of charge, and we can get you registered through the Autodesk education community to download that software. So everyone will be given the chance to get themselves to a standard that they feel comfortable with coming to the national final.
Just to make a note in terms of contacting you, as mentioned, it will be mid-July when we contact you and let you know that if you have got a place through to the national final. What I would suggest is, if you currently have registered your college email address and you won't be accessing that over the summer, it might be worthwhile to actually go into your registration and update your details to a more convenient email address that you'll be able to see more frequently, just so obviously you get the contact details. Of course, what we will ask you to do is confirm that you do want to take that place at the national final, and also we'll make arrangements for you to take part in some of the pre-national training as well. So we just need you to keep frequently checking your emails to see whether or not you've got a place and other information that's coming through. So if you could just be mindful of that. You can actually go back into your registration and update the details as well. You just go through the WorldSkills UK website. In terms of information for the competition and pre-testing, pre-competition tasks, they are all available through the WorldSkills UK website. You can actually go through that 2 routes, and I'll just flick onto the next slide so you can actually see the details. There's 3 sets of details here. Obviously, Barry, who is available to answer technical queries. You can find past test pieces by going through the CEMTA website. Now, through the CEMTA website, as well as your competition brief, you can actually find your competition leaflet, which gives you a few more details about the competition and about the structure of the WorldSkills UK competitions in general. But also you can actually then skip through. There's links available on there to take you through to the WorldSkills UK website as well. And on the WorldSkills UK website, there's past test pieces for each of the competitions. So you actually, to find that, if you scroll right the way down to the bottom of the homepage on the WorldSkills UK website, and there's a little section there that talks about resources. And you can click into resources, and there's a library in there, and you click into the library and pick CAD. So pick the CAD from the drop down list, and it'll give you a range of past test pieces. There's quite a lot. I think they go through for about 5 years. So there's lots of information there that you can use to actually practice on, because as Barry said, the practice within this competition is absolutely key. But any queries, if you can't find that information, you need any more guidance on what to practice on, please do contact us at CEMTA and we'll be able to give you that information. What we're going to do now is we're going to give the opportunity to ask some questions. Just before I do that, the slide that I've just popped up there on the presentation at the moment is just about the benefits of competing. I know here on the webinar we've got a mixture of lecturers, employers, competitors themselves. So this just is something that you can have a look at a later date and just read through. There's lots and lots of benefits of competing for everybody involved, whether you're the employer, whether you are the training provider, or whether you are the competitor. Lots and lots of benefits. You know, the opportunities that are available through competing, right through to the PR, the media, and the support from your employers. So I'll leave that one with you. So we'd like to hand it over to you now and give you 10 minutes just to ask us a few questions. You can do that where I know you already seem to be able to use the chat box there. So if you want to actually type us some questions, and we'll try and answer as many of them as we possibly can while we're online. And then if there's any more after that, please do put them into the WorldSkills UK eng@cemta.org.uk email address, and we will answer those offline as well. So we'll take the first couple of questions. Oh, they're coming thick and fast, so we'll start at the top. Okay, the first one that we've got is, can I bring my own laptop to the competition?
In terms of using your laptop competition, unfortunately that isn't an option. When you arrive at your competition venue, you'll be supplied with a PC that has been approved to be used in that competition, so laptops aren't allowed.
Okay, thank you very much. The next one is, do we have to create a drawing template?
At regional competition, we wouldn't expect you to create a drawing template. We would expect you, however, to be producing drawings in third angle projection, and that's what will be asked within the competition. We would probably look for your name to be added to the drawing, and probably a symbol to identify the fact that that is a third angle projection drawing.
Okay. Next one is there still an advanced and higher sections in the regional? Well, I'll take that one. We actually have moved to an open competition. What we felt that competitors and lecturers and employees were a little bit confused about the two levels of competition. So what we have actually taken the decision to do is move through to an open competition, which still has a set list of criteria to be able to enter the competition. So we give you a list of the different things that we expect you to be able to do, but it opens the opportunities for more competitors to be able to come through from different levels, i.e. you don't have to do a specific level 3 MVQ to enter the competition, but you do still have to hit the criteria in terms of being within the scope of a competitor. It's not age limited, but it is experience and skill limited. So i.e. you know, sort of within so many years of being a qualified engineer, etc. But the criteria for the competition is written within the brief, and it's also written within the leaflet. So if you want to have a look at that, it'll explain it a little further. Next question is, with regard to the software, are you able to confirm which version of Autodesk Inventor you are using?
At the competitions, depending on the venue, potentially you might have some venues with Autodesk Inventor 2014. Ideally they will be using Autodesk Inventor 2015. From the aspects of the competition which you'll be asked to do, the given files that you'll be, in terms of the parts that are added to the assembly, they'll be given a format which will be accepted into either of the two platforms. In terms of what the output that we'll ask, both 2014 and 2015 would be suitable for the competition.
Okay, thank you. The next question is it possible to bring a 3D mouse, such as a 3D connection, 3D mouse?
At regionals, one of the complexities in terms of bringing your own devices, 3D mice we would accept as you've been using the competition. That wouldn't be a problem. One of the problems you may have is, depending on the venue that you are going to compete at, they may not have the resource in terms of technicians to actually allow you to install the 3D mouse. So that will be a matter of take it along on the day. The judge will certainly be happy enough for you to use the mouse, but it's whether or not that can be installed at that particular venue. That will be the possible where it may come to a halt for you. But we would support the use of the 3D mice, and possibly, Joanne, it might well be worthwhile speaking to the venues prior to let them know that potentially these devices may well be coming along. Yep,
we're more than happy to do that for you. If you give us the spec of the mouse that you're planning on bringing with you, and then we can alert the host, and then they can give you an answer on whether or not they can be installed, so you will know beforehand. So just again, drop us a line on the email address for Centre, and we'll come back to you with a firm answer on that. Right, next question is, how many competitors will there be at the national finals? Last year there were 5 higher and 5 advanced. There will actually be 10, obviously 10 competitors all taking part in the one level competition at the national final. There will be a couple of more competitors that are coming back with the potential to take part in the long list for squad, but we'll explain more of that to the finalists as they come through. So it'll be in addition to the 10.
The 2 that are coming back for the squad are not competing at the national level, so they won't have the opportunity to win the national medal. So only the 10 people who come through the regional competitions will actually be eligible for the national final medals.
Okay. Next question is the bill of materials, if the bill of materials were provided with call-outs such as an SIB 1822M, would we be told that as part actually, or are we expected to look it up?
Hi Michael, within the competitions, what we would do at regional level is we will give you all of the parts. You won't be expected to use the content centre within Inventor or SolidWorks. So all of the content that will be added to the assemblies within the regional level, you will be supplied with, and they'll be clearly labelled with the names which will appear in the parts list.
Okay. Next question is, can I bring my own drawing template?
Again, one of the troubles with bringing your own drawing template is whether or not the system within the local centre will accept that drawing template. I would probably suggest that using the default ISO template within the SolidWorks or Inventor would be the best option, as it keeps everyone at a regional level working with the same platform.
Okay, we're just waiting for a couple of questions to type through, so bear with us a second and we will just run through those. Okay, oh, right, okay, knowing the results, just to skip through, how we will announce the results is the competition test pieces are actually marked off, like sort of online after the event, so we will tell you via email within 7 to 10 days of your regional heat taking place where you tabled within the regional heat. Then at the end of all of the regional heats, so once all of the regional heats have taken place, we will tell you within 7 to 10 days of that whether you've actually received a place at the national final. At that point, everybody does get all of their scores back in terms of they get what's called a Form 2, and that gives you an overview of what your scores were, and it gives us the opportunity to give you some feedback as well. So whether you gain a place at the national final or not, you will be notified either way within 7 to 10 days of the last heat taking place. And then, like I say, you will actually receive your scores along with that as well. So you can benchmark yourself against any other competitors that have competed from your organisation as well. On that Form 2 also, it gives you an average score across the whole of the competition, so you'll be able to see where you scored in comparison to the whole set of competitors across the UK. So hopefully that will be giving you enough information to benchmark yourself and have a look and see where you actually need to practice if you do gain either a place in the national final or you hope to come back in a following year to compete. And just to know, actually, that's it, while I've actually sort of got that on my mind, if you don't win through a place this year, you're more than welcome to come back in following years and actually come and compete again. If you don't win a gold medal at the national final, again, you can come back and compete again in following years. So please don't think this is a one shot. You are more than happy to come back and re-enter and re-compete. I'll just read a couple more of the questions. On the regional task last year, some of the materials of the parts were not available for competitors using SolidWorks. For example, a part had a material of peak plastics. However, in SolidWorks, this was not on the software. Competitors had to ask the judges for an alternative.
In terms of the part for this year's competition, all of the materials that are used within the parts you're asked to model will be standard materials that should be in SolidWorks and Inventor, so you shouldn't have any problems like that particular aspect you had last year. If anything like that does crop up, time should be given back for that. If it's a 10-second answer or a minute answer that's required from the judge, you will be given that time back to address that. But for this year, we're pretty sure that the materials that we've selected are standard materials that should be available in both SolidWorks and Inventor.
The tasks are written by Barry, and obviously they're tested by our working group as well, looked at, and as Barry mentions, we believe that everything is doable in both SolidWorks and Autodesk. But obviously, if there is any issues, then we will be able to give extra time for that. Just to the next question, Barry, is animation still at a higher level task?
Because we've now moved to an open level competition, animation will be involved within the competition overall. Again, we're probably looking at a functional animation of the mechanism that's been put in front of you. So yes, animation will be involved within this year's competition at regional level for all competitors.
Thank you very much. The next question, approximately how many people are participating in all of the heats? We have over 70 competitors competing across the UK in the heats currently, and we will be taking 10 of those 70 plus through to the national final. So it's quite a large number for you to actually win through to the national final and be whittled down to 10. Hopefully we will see a good quality of competitor coming through, which I'm sure we shall. Like I say, you will find out where you actually were at the regional heat as well in terms of scores, so you will know whether you came first, second or third at the regional heat. But please do be aware that if you come first at a regional heat, because it's across the whole of the UK and all of the regional competitions, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will automatically win through a place at the national final. It will be the top 10 scorers from across the UK that win a place at the national final, so not the gold medalist from each one of the regional heats, if that makes sense, hopefully. The next question is, before the competition, will the animation be tested on both SolidWorks and Inventor to ensure the SolidWorks competitors aren't at a disadvantage?
The animation for this year's competition at regional level should be achievable in both SolidWorks and Inventor. The complexity of the actual animation isn't too difficult, and I'm pretty sure that both SolidWorks and Inventor should be able to cope with this level of animation.
Fantastic, thank you. And obviously the competition delivery team will be there prior to you guys turning up as competitors, so there will be testing that goes on and all of the computers will be up and running and everything will be live for you to turn up on the morning. We've just got to, we'll take the two last questions that are coming in and then we will have to sort of call the webinar to an end. So Michael and Dominic, if you can type quickly, we'll just take your last two, and then we, like I said, any other questions after these two, we're more than happy to take those offline, either by email or you can call us at centre and we can field the questions for you. Okay, will the computers have school levels of processing power, or would they be spec'd better for CAD purposes?
All the centres that we are using should have machines that are spec'd for a CAD purpose. So I wouldn't anticipate, I'm pretty sure that we're given clear guidance as to the spec of the machines. So all the machines that you're using should be capable of dealing with the task that you're being set.
As Barry says, when we actually go out to find hosts for all of the competitions, we give them a spec on what the minimum is that we need for the CAD competition, and all of the competition equipment will be to that level. So all of the computers used should be at least the minimum level that we've requested, so there shouldn't be any issues with that. We've just got one last question coming in, and that will be our last one. Oh, right, no problem at all, Dominic, that's fine. Clearly we've actually answered that one in the last one somewhere. Well, thank you all for joining us. We hope you found the information useful. As I say, if there's questions that you still got, please do contact us either via the email address or give us a call at centre, and we're more than happy to help. So it just takes our last thing to wish you all very good luck in the regional heats, and we look forward to meeting you all. Thank you very much for participating, everybody.
Good luck.
Good luck.